welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for A Hound for Trouble, and with me today, giving me a lot of trouble, especially in the editing booth, my good friend S.C. McPeters. Say buongiorno, or ciao.
Buongiorno, ciao. Thank you so much for having me here.
See. As mentioned, this is A Hound for Trouble, released on the 28th of April 1951. It had a blue ribbon reissue sometime in 1961. It's the 619th of the series, and it's directed by Chuck Jones. We have a beautiful HD restoration, complete with Photoshop titles, but nonetheless, the cartoon looks pretty good. It is lurking around, and I believe it's on a Warner Archive Blu-ray. In case you haven't seen this one, because I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube due to copyright, essentially Charlie Dog is kicked off a boat and ends up in Italy. He proceeds to try and find a new master. He goes to a pizzeria, tries to convince a pizzeria owner to adopt him, and, well, while the pizzeria owner is on break, well, he pretty much takes over the stores, much to his annoyance.
I'm a want una bella piatta dal una cacciatore di tazzini curavo di marinara di la piazza rigottini mozzarella fine.
Few bits of trivia to get us underway here. So, this is actually the last starring short for Charlie Dog, and I honestly thought there was more, but no, this is the last one. And he would actually make an appearance via reused animation in the Bobby Kimpson short Dog Tales that was released in 1958. But as far as Chuck Jones's usage of the character, this is the last time, and we'll go into that in a few moments. Now, Mel Blanc, of course, does most of the voices here, but one of the customers is actually voiced by the writer Michael Maltese.
Yes, he makes a good order of nada per pita dotta cacciatore decorena la pisara ciccinore la fane.
I'm sorry. We no got una bella piata del una cacciatore tetrusina cura guda marinara della piazza rigattina e mozzarella fina.
Yep, what you just said. I'm not going to even bother attempting that, I think. But we can all agree that
It's very delicious, without onions.
Exactly. No onions. No. No onions. But the fact that both Maltese and Mel Blanc say it so well, it's just incredible. I absolutely love that bit in this short. Now, the place that this cartoon takes place, which is San Carlo, that's actually a real place in Italy. Now, given that Michael Maltese was the son of Italian immigrants, maybe they were from there, or maybe they have a familiarity of the area. I don't know.
It's a little north of Naples. It's close, but not actually on the shore itself, which makes it really confusing how he got kicked all the way across. I'm actually, my Italian side of my family is from Sicily and Naples, so it isn't even that far from where I am from, I guess.
So maybe he picked San Carlo just for personal reason, I don't know. Like I said, it is a real place.
It isn't even that big of a joint.
No. But it looks beautiful if you look it up on Google. Just a quick search will give you some beautiful images from there. And there is a sign in the restaurant that says La Tosca. So that was actually the title of a French play. And later on, it was adapted into an opera just called Tosca by Puccini. So I'm not sure why they call it La Tosca here, even though the opera is called La Tosca. But anyway, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but it is a real thing. I'm not sure of the other names, so I'm wondering if they were just Italianized names of people that might have performed it locally at one point, or I don't know. But if you know the
staff members in Italianized,
could be. Maybe there's some opera singers on staff. I don't know. We could, But in any case, that was definitely a real thing. So, before we get into the cartoon, one of the curious things about 1951, we will later on take a look at the very last of the three Bears shorts, Bear for Punishment, but this one is the last Charlie Dog short, at least officially. Given how much Jones actually liked Charlie Dog, he spoke about it quite a bit, actually, especially with character animation, how the dog would interact with the real world and other people. But why do you think Jones just decided to just stop making them?
I don't think it was really his own decision to do it. I get the impression when I watched the cartoons and look at the timeline a little bit, Pepe Le Pew had gotten the Oscar nab for Sentimental Reasons, of course, and And I get the impression that management wanted to push with the Oscar bait characters like Sylvester and Tweety and Foghorn Leghorn, both of which got nominated, Sylvester and Tweety actually winning in 1947. I get the impression that's what management wanted, and that's what was becoming the main goal in the post-war era of Warner Brothers. That's what they were pushing in terms of their characters. And I think it sort of affected Jones's output, because you notice that he doesn't do as many of the semi-recurring characters like the Three Bears, and of course, as we're talking, Charlie Dog, but also Hubie and Bertie, who were nominated alongside for Sentimental Reasons. So I think maybe if they had won, maybe they would have become the stars instead of Pepe Le Pew had.
It's quite possible, because, as I said, Jones seemed to have loved using the Charlie Dog character, and I actually quite like the character. I think that he's one of the better of the so-called secondary Looney Tunes characters. How much further can you really go with this idea of a dog looking for a master, is the way he says it in the shorts?
Master.
But then you could argue, well, look at Pepe Le Pew series. How many times do they have to try and figure out how to get the cat to always have a stripe on her back and that sort of stuff, and creepy reason that formula? So
I think it would have been a similar fate for Charlie Dog.
Yeah, just going.
He did use him a few more times in the Bugs Bunny show.
Exactly. So, but it's interesting how Jones, for the last two Charlie Dog shorts, seemed to have retooled him somewhat. So instead of being the whole foil for Porky Pig, he would then use Charlie Dog on his own. But I don't know, maybe the audience response just wasn't there either. That could be another possibility.
Yeah, I know that the Three Bears were not very well received when they first came out. I guess talking about the dysfunctional family in the post-war era was something that was shunned. I can see why, considering when you watch early 50s sitcoms about how they're all perfect families.
Let's take a look at this cartoon, because this one's actually quite funny. And, my background is an Italian. My parents came from Croatia, or the former Yugoslavia, back when it was, under communist rule and all that stuff. Practically neighbors to Italians. So I get a lot of the so-called ethnic humor of this short, even though it's not quite directly what I experienced growing up, being the son of immigrants, really. For me, the highlight has to be the song, the What's the Matter with You song.
What's the matter, hey, what's the matter for you?
Atsamara, hey, atsamara for you. You eat my raviola and my pasta fazola too. I'ma give you cacciatore and a pizza that's good to chew. Atsamara, you know like me, hey, atsamara for you.
And it's written by Maltese, so clearly that's something from his own life experience. I love the way the dog looks with the earrings and the fake mustache and just the general demeanor just of him actually singing that song. And of course, Mel Blanc's delivery. It's such a highlight. It's absolutely fantastic. But I like when Charlie Dog, the way he tries to talk some words in Italian, with my favorite one being,
Hey, pardon me, signor.
I guess he's trying to portray Charlie Dog as a bit of a city brash. I guess maybe Charlie Dog steps in Little Italy. He no capiche, no capiche.
He no capiche, that's right. And, speaking of capiche, I like the whole thing where, similar to the Pepe cartoon that was only covered just recently with all the fake French, now we've got, of course, the whole fake Italian, with my favorite being, of course, the televise inside, which, given that this cartoon was released in 1951, I should point out that would have been a big deal, because televisions were very new in terms of the post-war market, so having a television available to go in to maybe watch a boxing match or...
Jack Warner was notoriously sensitive with televisions. He wouldn't even allow them to appear in some of the movies at this time.
Wow. Maybe Jack Warner just didn't watch his cartoons, Of course, 50 minutes, which will be probably how long this review will end up being.
I do find it interesting, like how you mentioned the fake French and the fake Italian. In French dubs of the Warner shorts, Pepe is given an Italian accent.
Wow, I gotta hear that. I should look that up. That'd be very interesting and very weird, I would think, but kind of makes sense though. And of course, the, hey, look after your hat and quarter. That's in the background there. That's why this restoration's great. I mean, yes, okay, the Photoshop titles, they shouldn't be. It should. But the restoration itself is great, because I have not seen this cartoon look so good. It used to be just a faded, either Laserdisc copy or whatever. But here, you can look at some of the details in the background, and I never noticed that before. The, hey, look after your hat and quarter.
One that really stuck out to me was the disgusted customer. I like the fact that he just gets so disgusted with Charlie making wine that he just walks out with that same disgusted face. It reminds me of earlier shorts from the 1930s that tended to poke fun of restaurant quality, like Flip the Frog and the Soup Song, Bimbo and Dizzy Dishes, that kind of stuff. I I kind of do like seeing when cartoons poke at food standards.
Exactly, just his face. Of course, as we all know, Jones was the master of having such great facial expressions in his short.
He was good with facial deadpan, I guess you could call it.
And of course, speaking of facial expressions, I just love Charlie's face when he's walking backwards and forwards as that waiter. Just the whole smile. It's just that drawing just kills me. That's, oh, gee, it's just... It kills me, that. It really, really does. It's so good. I also love the punchline at the end. I mean, much like with the previous Charlie Dog short when he's down south, here he gets what he deserves, really. And the whole thing with the whole lead tower of Pisa, it's like, help, hold it up, I'll go get help. Such a great ending.
I think it was great. Like, even if he's street smart and he's wise and knows how to get someone to try and convince someone to be his master, he still doesn't know anything about Italy. He doesn't know about the culture, and he doesn't know that the tower just leans like that.
Exactly. And now to give further perspective on this short is my good friend John, who actually lives in Europe. So take it away, John.
Hey, it's me again. I'm sorry a little bit if my voice is not the best. At the time of recording this, I'm still a little bit sick. So yeah, I'm also joining for a Hound for Trouble, where I want to give my own views of the cartoon, plus also talk a little bit about my views on the character Charlie Duck in general, his career on all of these 5 cartoons. So first for all on this cartoon, one thing that I really enjoy is the setting. It's in Italy, it's a different place, and I like when cartoons are not set in either a generic place in the United States or suburban area. I really like when they change from place of the world. It gives more variety and also gives a lot of freedom to the animators and the artists and the art and the people behind, the layout artists, to create some original backgrounds. And I really enjoyed what Jones' team made for Italy. I really like this setting in here. So, beginning with the cartoon itself, the first scene when they are in the boat and they discover Charlie, I really enjoyed that first interaction scene where Charlie literally answers them, "What kind of person are you, a dog hater?" And they throw him away at the boat. And we have a little bit of a sequence of Charlie Dog taking a little tour to the village he's in until finds the restaurant that is going to be the setting for the entire cartoon. Then there's going to be 2 sequences where Charlie tries to convince the owner of the restaurant to be a little bit his pet. I know it's funny, but unlike with Porky Pig, which I really more like the dynamic in there, knowing that Porky's more of a straight man. Yeah, in here's maybe not so strong as when paired with Porky. At least I get to say that one of my favorite scenes in this cartoon is the one where he begins to sing a song. He's disguised as a man with a mustache and begins to sing the Atsamare, hey, Atsamare for you, and it's really funny. Well, and another scene that I remember a lot on this cartoon is the ending itself. Charlie's holding the Pisa Tower because he thinks it's falling down. There's an earlier scene where the owner tricks him and tells him, "Oh no, the tower's gonna fall down," without Charlie knowing that, the tower looks like this. And it's very funny, and I sometimes like to think that even nowadays, as of 2023, Charlie Dog is still holding the tower from falling down. It's, my little thought on what happened to him and why we haven't seen him. He's still holding the tower even to this day. And now I'm gonna give a little bit of a retrospective to character Charlie Dog. From all the characters Jones made during the 40s, Charlie Dog was possibly one of the funniest he made, and also possibly a key element to help him continue developing his comedic style. A Little Orphan Ardell is my favorite of the Porky Charlie saga. It's a pretty funny cartoon. It had a lot of memorable jokes, and I gotta be honest, I really love what Mel Blanc did with Charlie, even if he's, a little bit of his Bugs Bunny voice in a different pitch. But yeah, it was a good start for the character. And then with Awful Orphan, which this one I have a lot of connection since I watched it as a kid. I grew up watching this cartoon a lot. It's also very enjoyable, a few funny gags in there. But yeah, it was a continuing good step. And then After an Orphan, I think is the weakest one of the Charlie-Porky interactions. Still has a few funny scenes that really show why Charlie Dog was a pretty good character. Still very funny, a solid trilogy. Then they did Dog on South. I think that one was possibly a little bit the weakest. I'm not a big fan of the character of the Colonel Shuffle, I think was his name. The guy from Mississippi here. But yeah, I think that one is the weakest of Charlie Dog's entries. But then is A Hound for Trouble, which is a little bit better than Duck Gone South, and I think it's a pretty good ending for the character's run. The most surprising thing is to note that Charlie Duck did eventually has appeared in more media years later, like in Looney Tunes cartoons, the new series they made for HBO Max. They brought Charlie Duck back for a solo cartoon, and it's a pretty funny short. Eric Bauza does the voice of Charlie in this occasion, and he nails it perfectly. I really love some of the gags thrown in there. It's a pretty good thing to have seen him back for a while, and even with a solo cartoon. Another thing was that later he was in an episode of the Bugs Bunny show, co-starring with Porky. They shared screen time. And I think he was also on Tiny Toons Adventures, Bahamdak, a Looney Tunes Christmas as a background character. But yeah, overall I think Charlie Duck is a pretty funny character. I hope that people do use him more, and he's obviously among the best, minor secondary Looney Tunes characters of them all. And that's all my part for this review, so I'll see you guys soon.
I just really loved cartoons like this that they just poke fun without being racist.
And I should point out, without delving too much into it, if your argument is, how come in the shorts featuring African Americans, how come they're not allowed and how come this is okay? Well,
they're dehumanized in terms of drawing. They're not given human culture, they're not even human.
And here you have an Italian writer, or, he was American, but he was the son of Italian immigrants. He knows the culture. Yep, he knows the culture. And he knows how to tell a joke in relation to that, from his life experience. And the Italians look like normal people here, and they're caricatured appropriately. So, if your argument is, if this is okay, then the other stuff must be no, okay? Just no. Alright, there is a difference. Okay, and if you still don't believe me, well, then you're beyond help. That's all I'm going to say. But in terms of the score, look, I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. It's not a standout per se, but man, every time I see it though, it just reminds me of the whole ethnic culture stuff that I grew up with myself, and it's just hilarious, especially that stupid, what's the matter with you song as well. I mean,
I also give it an 8. Maybe not a top one in terms of being the top short that I'll always go back to, but you know what? It is still very solid, and this is Jones's decade, and he's still making great shorts with his characters, and he's doing it really good. He gets a really good hold of it.
Exactly. I think this is a great way for Charlie Dog to go out on, and because really, we're not going to count Dogtails. That would have been just, I guess, due to budget cuts, Mick Gibson's way of getting something out there. He had a lot of
those.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't really blame him for that. And in any case, that'll wrap up this one. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time, ciao.
Ciao da ciao. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, doesn't anybody around here capiche? Help!